Hi guys. Okay, subject is going to be weed, pot, whatever you want to call it. Okay, 3 more sleeps and pot is going to be legal in Canada. So, like we used to sing to back in the 60s, instead of saying San Francisco, we're going to say, come to Vancouver. Wear some flowers in your hair. When you get here, you're going to find some very gentle people here because, there's a lot of them going to be high and happy. So anyway, yeah, it's not my thing anymore. I did a little bit of it in the 60s, but it wasn't really my thing then either, but lots of my friends were into it. So, but now it's a whole different thing that is happening. And so I just want to talk about the condo thing. Now you got to promise me you'll do your own homework on this, get your own facts. And also, I would really appreciate it if you guys like this video, that you give me a little subscribe. See the little button right there? If you would subscribe, if you like, please, thank you. And if you have any comments or any feedback, by all means, just put it down below and I'll get back to you. So that would be really appreciated. Now, okay, 3 more sleeps and we're going to be doing this whole legal thing now. But I went to a weed store the other night, just here, a local one. I'd never been to one. I actually shouldn't say that. I was once in Victoria. But anyway, oh my God, you guys. That place was busier than Safeway. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you know what? Everybody, I couldn't believe it. There were suits, there were, blue jeans, there were like people on their way home from work, doing whatever, they're all in there getting their weed. I could not believe how busy that place was. So obviously very popular and something that I, hadn't really looked at. But anyway, so all the Stratas in Canada are scrambling right now because they want to cross their T's and dot their I's on bylaws, how they're going to handle this. Now, us being in British Columbia, we're somewhat ahead of the game because the BC Strata Association, we've had a nuisance bylaw in place for approximately 10 years. So some of that, this whole smoking thing and the smell, can already fall, is my understanding, under that nuisance bylaw. But I think they're still going to have to cross T's and dot their I's because there's going to be more into it, because you can now also cultivate, grow your own plants, 4 per household. But they cannot be visible to the public, so they definitely have to be within your 4 walls. See, that wasn't a problem back in the 60s. We stuck them in my mom's vegetable garden or whatever, or where she grew her flowers, and she would actually cultivate them. She didn't know what they were. She just went, I don't know what this plant is, but wow, they're so healthy, they're doing so well. And we'd kind of go, whatever, it's working for us so far. And it was illegal then, so I mean, you'd always kind of worry that maybe one of her friends would figure it out. But anyway, that's all changed now. So yeah, so now growing them in your home or your condo, which is even more worrisome because of course there's so many of us in the building. And what can happen with a plant is it can get bud rot, B-U-D, bud, like the bud on the plant. And what it's got perfect environment because it needs woods, plants, soil, any kind of cellulose compound. So it's got that. It needs air, it needs heat, and it needs water. Perfect. And so you got to worry a little bit. You go, well, if people aren't getting enough of that, what kind of situation are they going to create? So, but you cannot grow it outside where it's visible. If you have a high fence, somebody can't see it, you're fine. But keep that in mind because they've also attached a $5,000 fine and 3 months jail. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's already in place. And I'm assuming that that's a federal, would be a federal charge or offense. And then keep it in mind that each province and then each city can also, on top of that, put their own bylaws. And then you've got your condo bylaws. So it's not simple Simon or whatever, this is just going to happen. There's a lot of stuff that's going to have to be put into place. So my concern would be if somebody is growing weed in their home or in their condo, And they do end up in a situation where they're growing plants that have got what they call, it's called black mold, toxic black mold. And so even if they have the plants and they throw them out, the spores are in the air. So they're saying long after the plants are gone, you could still have this toxic black mold floating around and attaching itself to wherever in your suite, which could be a problem not just for the person living in the suite, but maybe people in the building eventually. So you can see where I'm going with this. So this could be huge. A few videos ago, remember I was talking about fire and so forth, and like I say, you're only as safe in your suite as responsible as your neighbors are around you. So you're kind of at the mercy of other people on what they're doing. So this is going to be a huge thing. So if you're buying in a condo or a house, I don't care which it is, you need to get an air inspection done. I'm hoping, I'm going to ask Tom Monroe, who's the fellow that I do some of my interviews with, who's a home inspector, and Tom is pretty well certified for everything. I'm going to ask him to maybe comment on this video and give you guys just an idea on exactly what an inspector should be bringing to the table if you wanted to have your condo checked or your home for any of these mold spores. Okay, so very, very important, you guys. And then the other one is that the fire chiefs in British Columbia are actively campaigning to just have a law, outright law, that forbids cultivating plants in your home or your condo. And I can see that too, because we were just talking about the environment that these plants like. Well, if you don't have that environment in your home or your condo naturally, you might tend to want to create that environment with lamps and so forth. So now it becomes a fire issue or hazard, which it should also be a big concern to not only yourself but all your neighbors and the people around you. And that's just not saying, oh yeah, well that's never happened. It actually has. There were 2 lives lost, I think, last year because of this very example that I'm giving you. So there's still a lot that needs to be figured out about this, especially in a condo, because my conduct affects everybody. And then the other one is the smell. Okay, now, ex-smoker, and so I don't tend to get too uptight, but if you don't like cigarette smoke, wait till you get a whiff of this. You ever walk around the store and somebody walks by you with that sort of pungent smell? Oh, they probably just put out a reefer or some weed, whatever. And, that's their thing. But if I had my grandbaby here, our littlest one is 15 months old, and if I had her sleeping in the bedroom and you are smoking, you and your friends, because it's usually a very social thing, right, when you're smoking your weed, and it's drifting, either because you're smoking in your suite, but it's coming through, and that's another subject, how it can come through your walls and you can smell it. I'm not going to be a happy camper. I don't care. You want to smoke weed? Go ahead and smoke your weed. It's just not my thing, but I shouldn't have to breathe it either. But then on the other hand, who am I to say if you paid $800,000 for a suite, or $500, or you paid $10? It doesn't matter. It's the principle. You should be able to do what you want to do in your own home. So you know what? It's a catch-22. It's going to get into human rights. I should be able to, and I think we've just opened up Pandora's box. Probably a lot of people are going to be pretty chilled about it, but then there's a lot of them aren't going to be. So those are the things to keep in mind, you guys. It's legal. It's a done deal. But like I say, we have our federal rules. Then we're going to have our provincial rules. Then we're going to have your city rules. Like where I live, they're actually talking about not even allowing any dispensaries, that you're going to have to go to one of the other communities. So you know what? Do your homework. Get your facts. I've just opened the door to some of the things that you may want to look at, because I can assure you, all your stratas are out busy talking to their lawyers to find out how they have to cross their T's, dot their I's, and just remember, it has to be registered, okay? It's not a bylaw if it's not registered. So that's usually done at the land title office, where you can find out if your bylaw is an actual bylaw. Strata cannot just make up their own rules. The only bylaw that doesn't have to be registered when it comes to pets. So guys, have a great day. For all of you that are really excited about having pot legal on the 17th, just make sure you got to respect other people who aren't as comfortable with it, okay? So ease them into it. And then you got to find out what the rules are. No smoking in parks, so you're not going to be able to sit in the park bench and toke, okay? So have a good one. See you guys next week. Take care. Bye.